All right, good afternoon and welcome to It's Kind of a Funny Story. I'm Preston Reynolds, your guide for everything and all things funny, embarrassing, ridiculous, or just plain stupid. I'm here from every Thursday from 2 to 3 p.m., so if you've seen it, bring it to me. How can you share these stories, you may ask? It's simple. Just shoot me an email at preynolds11 at hawkmail.hccfl.edu with your funny story, and it will be featured. And if you would like to be featured as well, include that in your email and we can get you on here. So, each week I will be sharing what I've heard or found online or in person. This might include funny signs, stupid decisions, and any and all that might make you LOL. And remember, I will be laughing with you, not at you. Well, maybe a little at you. 10%, 30% tops. All right, so coming up here, we have a little funny date story segment from someone in my family that I do know. So without further ado, let's get going.
This particular story happened some years ago when I was working at
Which one is
one of
this?
the local restaurants between finishing college and finding
Which one
full-time
is this? Turn
work
my mic off again.
within my major.
Sorry.
Now, I have to say, some people that you may meet at work, especially where I worked, were not always the best people. I mean, not just a few issues, but the whole subscription type of people. So being a little cautious was a good rule of thumb. That said, the group that I hung out with was pretty close knit, and we got along really well for the most part. It was a it was like quite normal to go to other restaurants together for a late lunch when we were working a split shift, or to go out as a group at the end of the work evening. And hey, when I got married some years later, I even had a few of them that showed up at the reception. But I digress. One of the guys that I worked with seemed to be, at least I thought, a pretty good guy. He was really nice. He had a great sense of humor. And I'd not really heard anything bad about him from anyone else that would put him, in a bad light. No ex-girlfriend stories, crazy ex-girlfriend. And I hadn't heard that maybe he was the crazy ex-boyfriend. So when he'd asked if I'd like to try a solo date with him, I thought, well, why not? Well, if you're listening to this, you know that eventually there will be an answer to that. Why not? We didn't really plan a big date, but instead wanted to do something easy, not a lot of pressure. So there was this movie that was out that we had both wanted to go see and thought, going to it would be the best way to start the evening. Something easy, familiar. And it was a comedy. It ended up being a pretty good choice as we had a good time and made fun of some of the parts of the show, throughout. After it was over, we went to a restaurant by the theater and had a really nice time. Good food, good conversation. I found out that he was finishing up school. It was planning on working in the engineering department of his father's business. I was actually pretty impressed. Nice guy, check. Good conversationalist, check. Smart, check. Ambitious, check, check, check. All was looking really up. After dinner, we decided that we were going to go to this outdoor event that we'd heard about from some people at work. It was like a bonfire type deal with a live band. I had asked if we could go back to my place first so I could grab a coat. It was getting cooler and maybe, different shoes for the evening if I was going to be walking around outside for a bit. At that time, I didn't live too far from where the event was being held, so to be honest, it wasn't going to be that big of an inconvenience. Where I lived was an older house close to the university, and it was turned into two apartments, with mine located upstairs. There were two college guys that I knew that lived below me, and I mean, they always had my back. So I always felt, comfortable with them there, living by myself. And especially, even though this guy I thought I knew, when we were coming back to my place, felt comfortable bringing him there because I knew they were home, or at least one of them was. After we got to my apartment, used the bathroom while I gathered up what I needed for the rest of the date. When he came back out, I actually thought that maybe we could finish up the wine that I had in the refrigerator. And he thought that was a good idea. So we went ahead and did that and listened to some music, just sat around. And at that point in time, I found out that he liked like a lot of the same music that I did. He liked my collection. We had the same taste in music. And for the second time that evening, I thought, wow, this is really going well. This, gosh, what could go wrong? After finishing the wine, I took the glasses back to the kitchen and stopped off in the bathroom before heading out. As I came back up the hallway that led into the living room, I realized that the music was back on. I mean, I knew I'd shut it off. And the music was something slow and a bit more on the, romantic side. Stepping into the room, however, was a sight that I certainly did not expect. There stood my date, my coworker, stark naked. That's right, not a stitch of clothing on him, or to be honest, not even near him. And how that happened, I will never know. Maybe he was in a hurry and just threw them everywhere willy-nilly. I mean, I'll never know, and to be honest, I don't really want to know. So I stopped dead in my tracks, mouth just hanging open. I mean, I'm sure my eyes were wide with surprise. I do not hide my expressions very well. I've been told I have a cartoon face, so whatever he was seeing should have immediately told him that this was really not the right move for a first date, or any date. His face turned a little red. At least he had the wherewithal to blush a little, and he sort of stammered in, "I'm sorry," while grabbing one of my throw pillows to cover himself. Quick note, no pillow ever found its way back to my couch or into my apartment. It was gone after that night. He took his clothes, went down the hall to the bathroom, and got dressed rather quickly. A few "I'm so sorry's" later, and he was sprinting down the stairs, out the front door, and into his car, which screeched out of sight. One of my downstairs neighbors was home, and he had heard the commotion of my date's leaving, but he came up to see if I was okay. When I told him what had happened, he laughed so hard that I thought he would pass out right there on my floor. Granted, at this point in time, I was laughing as well, but seriously, how does that even happen? How did "let's leave for the bonfire" concert turn into "look what I brought to the party"? Just another file for the bad date stories of my life.
My goodness, what a date. And I'm not even sure if that was a date.
Wish I could give you up, but you're my new favorite drug. Enter into my blood, run with my toxic love. Look how you make me happy. You take a hold of me. You take a hold of I wish I could give you up, but you're my new favorite drug. Enter into my blood, run with my toxic love. Look how you make
All right, welcome back. Remember, you're listening to Hawk Radio Live 365. I am Preston Reynolds, and next up, we have a story from an old neighbor friend when I used to live in my old neighborhood. I'm surprised it didn't go worse than this, but here we go. Without further ado, let's go on with her story.
I have to tell you a funny story, Preston. I was sitting here watching Hallmark with my daughter, and I said to her, "Oh, look at it's raining." And I said, "Turn that TV on pause so we can look at the rain because I love the rain. It makes me feel very calm and collective." So as I'm sitting here looking at the rain, I said, "Oh, and look at the palm trees. Aren't they beautiful? They're moving. And this is really wonderful weather." And as we're sitting here and looking at this wonderful weather, the rain's coming down and it's coming closer and heavier. And I'm looking at the pool is out there. So we're looking at the pool. And as it's pouring rain, all of a sudden, the rain is getting deeper and deeper. The puddles are getting deeper and deeper, I should say. And it's all of a sudden, it's coming into our family room.
Oh, no.
And this was how beautiful and relaxing it was. We had to run and get brooms, run out and push the water into the pool. So that was my beautiful, relaxing Hallmark movie afternoon.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So how far did it come
It came almost right up to the doors, but we were a little smarter when it was getting deeper. We ran and got the brooms.
Oh, good. My
Yeah.
gosh. Still, you said you think that it could have been like also the pool water that came in as well?
No, it wasn't the pool water. It was just we have a drain there, but it didn't. It was raining so hard, the drain didn't take it, and it has nothing to do with the pool. The pool was not overflowing, but the pool would have been overflowing. We had to run out and let water out of the pool too. If
Oh, I bet.
yeah, so
Wow. That
it
is
was
crazy.
yeah, it was quite an afternoon of a wonderful Hallmark movie.
Oh my gosh. They were our neighbors for about 10 years, so this shocked me, and also just because the pond is not directly behind their house, it's some ways away. So, my goodness. Anyways, for my next stories from Reddit, first up, I live in the South where nothing is equipped for winter. We had an ice storm one year, and at the restaurant where I was waiting tables, the girl I was closing with couldn't start her car. Per usual, that makes sense. Since we hadn't made much money that night, I decided to take her home. It was 5 miles to our apartment, in the freezing rain, and my car wasn't equipped for it. The heater didn't even work. I drove until I couldn't see, and then my coworker got out and scraped the ice off the windshield with a spatula that we'd stolen from the kitchen. On the way back, though, I was the one who had to get out and scrape. In retrospect, I'm lucky to be alive because it was dark and I couldn't see what I was doing. I hadn't been invited to a party that night, but my hands hurt so much as they thawed out and that I did not want to go. Many years later, on a vacation in Colorado, I couldn't understand why there was a fly swatter on the dashboard of my rental. Yes, it took me until my 40s to see my first ice scraper. Oof. You know, that's kind of me. I've never lived anywhere else except for Florida, and I've barely seen any snow. So that's definitely something that I would catch on to. So, next up, my college roommate was from Florida and had never seen snow before. When we got our first good snow, we saw that he had been that he had been ready for it as he had bought all the gear months before. He was as excited as a little kid and begged me to join him in his first snowball experience. He went out of the dorm and spun very slowly around while trying to catch snowflakes on his tongue. He kept yelling, "My first snowfall, my first snowfall." So, to help him get the full experience, I yelled out to him, "Hey, here's your first snowball," and winged it right into his eye. He then experienced his first snowball fight and his first black eye of the winter. I was happy to help. You know, when that snow happened up in Tallahassee, I wanted to go so bad, but had a few people tell me like, yeah, you don't know how to drive in the road and the weather conditions. So maybe I'm glad I didn't go up there. Next up, I had a friend from the Bahamas that lived with me one winter. After our first snowfall, we were walking to class and I decided to introduce him to snowballs. After I lobbed a couple of soft ones at him, he just sat there, fuming. He didn't know it was just a fun thing to do. So I told him to go over to the tree and cool off by giving it a shake. He had his own private snowfall, all down the inside of his coat. He ended up not liking winter all that much after that day. Honestly, I wouldn't either, but at the same time, I've always wanted to see snow. It's just a little kid in me, so I would probably be on the floor laughing. How Floridians view the cold. 75 degrees in Florida is nice. The 60s are uncomfortable. The 50s are proper nightmare and cold weather. The 40s are apocalyptic. The 30s are just assuming that hell was frozen over. The 20s are when all Floridians just assume that the heat death of the universe has finally arrived and everyone is contemplating their own lives. Then, the next day, it's about 75 degrees and it's like that nightmare never even happened. I moved from the Californias to the Great Lakes a few years ago. One of the biggest culture shocks was how nonchalant everyone up north was about the snow. I mean, down where I was born and raised, an inch of snow is enough to close the schools, and a mere prediction of snow was enough to make the grocery store sell out of bread, milk, and sandwich stuff. But in the north, it's like, the heck with it. It's only a few inches of snow. We got stuff to do. Dang. And honestly, that would be such a sad day for me because I've never seen snow. I'd love to have a snow day, so I can't imagine like, oh, there's 6 inches of snow, 10 inches of snow, however much. I'll go into school. Like, dang. Okay. Every work and every school is released at noon one day in Raleigh, Durham, with the storm hitting at the exact same time. What happened next? Car fires, school buses stranded, idiot after idiot attempting to go up a hill as cars slid down beside them. For 2 years, the governor had premeditatively declared a state of emergency, so he couldn't be blamed for any of it. Something similar happened in Atlanta one winter. I pleaded with my boss the day that the storm was predicted, but since she had only lived a couple blocks away, we all stayed until noon. At 12 p.m., I sprinted out of the building and flew home in my car. I ended up beating the wrecks on the road by just a few minutes. All of my coworkers, though, got stuck out there for hours, including my boss. The moral of the story? It's not how bad the storm is, it's the drivers, and they're always bad. Man, if we had snow in Florida, I can't imagine how bad that would be because we already can't drive enough as it is down here. I mean, come on. All right, remember, you're listening to Live Talk Radio 365. I am Preston Reynolds. Sorry, we are back. Okay, we got a few travel stories from hostelgeeks.com. One day in Crabby, Ireland, we were waiting for the rain to stop. I sat at the cafe facing to the sea and ordered a cup of coffee milk. Several minutes later, what they brought to my table really cracked me up. Coffee with milk means coffee plus milk, but the plus milk part was served in a baby bottle. I just smiled, drank my coffee, and hoped that there wasn't some strange mistake. Next up, I always use public transport. I believe it is the best way of getting to know a country. En route from Lake Winchi to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, I had not only the bumpiest journey of my life, but also the most bizarre. Chickens casually strolling around, nibbling on my toes, 2 goats strapped on the roof, people sitting on my lap. Meanwhile, the driver also acted as a DJ, playing only ABBA tunes for 3 hours. I loved it. Next up, one of my all-time favorite countries to travel to is India. If you have ever been, you know that this is one of the craziest countries in the world to drive in. The streets are crowded, the cars share the road with cows, camels, horses, dogs, bicycles, huge trailers, tuk-tuks, buses, and pretty much everything that moves. The rules. Well, there are no rules. They use their horn for pretty much everything, and if you want to drive past someone, you just need to honk your horn and drive around. When we took taxis in the northern parts of the country, I saw my life flash before my eyes every 5 minutes. In New Delhi, we had an awesome taxi driver that drove us around the city for a couple of days. In the world's second most populous city, you have to be pretty crazy to become a taxi driver. At least that is what we thought, sitting in the back seat of his taxi, listening to A.R. Rahman, the Mozart of Madras, blasting through the broken speakers, whilst dodging cars and cows. I asked him, so, what makes a good taxi driver in Delhi? He says, a good taxi driver needs 3 things: good brakes, good horn, and good luck. And so, we continued on with our trip through the streets of Delhi, beeping along the way. Wow, I mean, I have seen plenty of videos online on whether it be TikTok or anywhere of the streets in New Delhi, and I can tell you that none of those cars or anything look good. Next up, and our last story here, is one day last year, our friends asked us if we would like to meet up with them in Thailand, and without hesitation, we said yes. The timing was perfect, and we planned the trip around Songkran, aka the Thai New Year. Songkran is an experience that is so difficult to describe. Here's this. Imagine being part of the world's largest water fight. Streets packed full of people at all hours, pouring buckets of water on each other, and everyone armed with water guns. Needless to say, my husband, our friends, and I relived our childhoods, running around Bangkok, shooting people with our water guns, and remaining drenched all day and night. Simply put, it was a blast. Oh my gosh, I would love that. The little kid in me would spark up. All right, here we go.
Let me guide
Oh, hello. We are back, and I deeply apologize for all of the problems that have been going on. I know you've heard quite a mix of a few things. So, with that being said, let's wrap up with our last segment here. So, these are notable dumb laws from our Insensible. Washington State. It is illegal to harass Bigfoot in Skamania County any without any willful slaying of such creatures is considered a felony. Arkansas, mispronouncing Arkansas is illegal. In an unusual but official move, Arkansas has legislated the correct pronunciation of its name. According to the Arkansas Code, the name must be pronounced Ark and Saw with the silent final S. New York, throwing balls at heads for fun is prohibited. In New York, it is against the law to throw a ball at someone's head just for fun. Dodgeball enthusiasts, beware! Hitting the playground bully in the head on purpose could be more than a foul in the Empire State. Montana, sheep must have a chaperone in truck cabs. Montana law allegedly states that you cannot have sheep in the cab of your truck without a chaperone riding along. Wonder what happened to make this law, to be honest. Maine, dancing requires a special permit in alcohol serving establishments. In Maine, establishments serving alcohol must obtain a special amusement permit if they wish to allow patrons to engage in dancing. Massachusetts, no gorillas in car back seats. In the state of Massachusetts, it is officially illegal to transport a gorilla in the back seat of your vehicle. While the law is silent on the front seat primates, one might infer that riding shotgun is the legally preferred option for your simian companion. Colorado, it is illegal to mistreat rats in Denver, and you cannot remove furniture tags that say, do not remove under penalty of law. Nevada, sitting or lying on sidewalks in Reno is banned. In Reno, Nevada, sitting down or lying on a public sidewalk is illegal. Sin City wants you to be on your feet and in the casinos, not napping on the sidewalk. If you need a rest, you better find a bench or a slot machine. Kansas, no cherry pie a la mode on Sundays in Topeka. In Topeka, Kansas, a rather unusual law once prohibited serving cherry pie a la mode on Sundays. That's right. Adding a scoop of ice cream to your cherry pie was considered off limits on the Lord's Day. While the origins of this peculiar regulation remain unclear, it has sparked both amusement and speculation. California and the state of anything. In Los Angeles, it is illegal to hunt moths under a streetlight. Also in California, women can't drive wearing house coats. Sounds about right. Alaska, it is illegal to be drunk in a bar, which can lead to a fine of up to $500. In Alaska, it is unlawful to be visibly intoxicated within a bar. While it may seem counterintuitive, state law prohibits individuals from remaining on the premises of a licensed establishment if they are noticeably under the influence of alcohol. Georgia, eating fried chicken with a fork is illegal. The law, initially introduced in 1961 as part of the publicity stunt to promote Gainesville as the poultry capital of the world, states that fried chicken must be consumed using one's fingers. Connecticut, pickles must bounce to be legally sold. In one of the more peculiar examples of state food regulations, Connecticut law mandates that for a pickle to be legally sold, it must be able to bounce. Specifically, the law stipulates that a pickle is considered fit for sale only if it can bounce when dropped from the height of 1 foot. In Idaho, cannibalism is illegal except for survival. Under Idaho law, engaging in cannibalism is a felony punishable up to 14 years in prison. However, the statute includes a narrow and unsettling exception. The act may be excused if it is determined necessary for survival during extreme, life-threatening emergencies. North Dakota, beer and pretzels cannot be served together. In an unusual twist on barroom regulations, North Dakota law prohibits the simultaneous serving of beer and pretzels in the bar or restaurants. So if you're enjoying a frosty one, you might want to get creative with your choice of bar snacks. Ohio, certain crimes are are prosecutable on Sundays, or actually aren't prosecutable on Sundays, except on the rivers. Bizarrely, Ohio law suggests that certain crimes committed on Sunday or the 4th of July can't be prosecuted, except if you do them on a river. So if you're planning on mischief spree, Ohio's old laws imply Sunday might be your best bet. Just make sure you don't do it on a boat. Pennsylvania. Catching fish with your mouth is illegal. In Pennsylvania, catching fish using anything other than a conventional fishing rod is illegal. Any attempt to catch fish using your hands, feet, or even your mouth is strictly prohibited. So to be clear, no bobbing for trout is allowed. In Texas, selling eyeballs is banned. In Texas, state law strictly prohibits the sale of human organs, a regulation that includes a rather specific clause. Selling one's eyeballs is expressly forbidden. In Utah, alcohol sales are forbidden during emergencies. In Utah, it is illegal to buy or sell alcohol during a declared emergency. So if the zombies come, you'll have to face them sober. And finally, in Mississippi, don't disturb church services. Disturbing a church service in Mississippi is against the law and could even result in citizens' arrest. So don't even think about yawning too loudly or heckling the sermon. The church ladies have the law on their side. OMG, not the citizens' arrest. I've seen way too many things on that. Y'all be going crazy on that, you know? Anyways, once again, thank you for today and all the technical difficulties that we had to go through. I hope you tune in next week. Please don't let this stop you from tuning in, because next week will be better. I promise you that. Thank you and have a good one.